All right, ladies and gentlemen, my name is MC Dogo Destiny, and thank you so much for watching the Destiny Show. Thank you so much for subscribing, and thank you so much for always following. Today on the Destiny Show, I am so privileged to have the Honorable Member of Parliament for Kyoga County in Amolata District, the man who many termed as fearless, the man who always stands on the truth, the man that has seen a lot in his age. Thank you so much, Bitek.
You're welcome, Dogo, and thank you for taking the opportunity to bring me to our young generation. I know social media and it's the new mode of communication that has listeners and viewers and followers from our generation.
For the interest of the viewers who might not know who Bitek is, would you let us know?
There have been a lot of misrepresentation out there. I am born of a Burataro village in Amolata district, originally under Muntu sub-county, currently in Aguirre. I was born to Muse John Angiro Okino, who was who served in different vocations. He was a retired policeman at a level of ASP, and then he joined the vocation of teaching and retired as the head teacher of a Sipuri Senior Secondary School. And to a mother, he met Kela Angiro Okino, who is the chairperson Women's League of the NRM of Amolata district. I'm born in a family of four. We are four boys.
Okay.
We are all learned. My elder brother is a medical doctor. The person whom I follow is a policeman by rank of SP. He's the commander care division, and we have a last born who is an agriculturist.
Wow, that's
I'm a lawyer by profession.
Where did you get the name Bitek from?
In Lao, persons are named one to kinship, blood relationship.
Okay.
Two, persons are named to persons who are prominent in the society. Also, persons are named those days the person who makes first arrival when a child is born.
Yeah.
I happened to be given birth to at the time when this country was into issues. They had captured the NRM government had dislodged the Tito's government, and most of our people who were now in the military, in the police force, fled for their lives in this country because they were being targeted systematically and either being assassinated. Some of them went to exile. My father, having served at the rank, which I told you,
Yes.
SP by then, was a person of target. So we happened to seek refuge and in the house of a famous writer, a poet, Okot Bitek.
I think I'm right if you listen to the start of my story.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I sought refuge. My father and mother sought refuge in their home, and I was born there. So I had to take all his names. But thank God, there is a saying that there are certain things. There is reincarnation. Many people who could have not seen and interacted with the late Okot Bitek, the writer, they think I am a true reincarnation of Okot Bitek because he was a poet. He was very fluent. His novels that he wrote, the Lakata, the Songs of Lawino, Songs of Ochol, were pivoted on post-colonial era, fighting new colonialism, because the Obotes had done their part, but neo-colonialism was the new thing the Europeans were using at that time to recapture Africa. So all his writings then was in light of political and legal writings, but packaged in a poetic way.
I have a feeling that during school, his books were your favorite.
Of course, for me to do law at that time, not lately what is there, but then law was given. There were specific subjects that were required for you to get admitted for the course. You needed to have done literature. You needed to have done history, and then you must have secured maximum points at that point in time. If you didn't, you could not be admitted for the same. Of late, they've admitted it to open subjects. Any subject you can do it. Yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful. About the education background.
Education background, my early schooling, I was in a Molatar, and then P3, I came to Lira City at Amusha SDA Primary School. From P3 to P7 where I sat, and when I left Amusha SDA, I went to Intinda View College in Kampala, and then in senior 4, I came back to a Puri Secondary School where my dad was teaching, to sit from there, because Dad desired that I could sit there. So I sat at that time, and I remember being the best student, I think, in Lao at that time when I sat from Apuri.
Wow, that's great.
Because I scored then aggregate 10, which was rare.
You didn't study from Apuri, but you just went and sat from there.
Yeah. Then I was given a scholarship at Gombe SS in Impiji. I went and did history, economics, divinity, and entrepreneurship. I remember scoring 25 points in A level. I got it all.
Whoa!
And then when I was admitted on a course on government sponsorship. That was business computing in MUBS. They failed to take me for law first time.
The one that were you eyeing law?
Yes. The reason I did arts was only law, nothing else. So in my second year, I was a GRC of School of Business Computing, and that time I had a CGPA of about 4.5 in second term when I was contesting for Guild presidency. Now, something happened. I was the official flag bearer of the Forum for Democratic Change. The Forum for Democratic Change at that time was in its heydays. It was so strong at that time. And that was 2000, about 2009 then. So we happened to win the election. And then there was a skirmish by the school because the then VC, Waswa Balonyua, wanted the NRM candidate to win. So elections results were overturned against me. Students then striked in MUBS. When they striked, I was suspended from MUBS. Now the suspension was for 2 years. 2 years. So I came home and told my dad that I have been suspended from
school,
from university. Of course, it was bitter. How can you get suspended from university? Dad, he was of course very bitter for some time, but I told him, you see, I went to that course because my career is in politics, and since I didn't get to law, I wanted to use this to bring myself to the limelight. And unfortunately, I didn't make it because of what happened, and students did strike later. So I am saying, I have applied. I didn't tell him I was going to apply. I have applied at Makerere School of Law, private sponsorship.
You are the one telling him now that you had already applied.
Yes, and I've already been admitted. Here is
the admission.
Yes. Because when I was suspended, I didn't come home direct. I
know parents of those days, a channel you need to follow.
So my dad took me. He agreed. Said, okay, fine, if this is what you want, because Mom was very supportive. This is what you want, I am going to take you.
Of course. What did you expect? Mothers will always be there at the background.
So I joined Makere, the mighty Makere.
Mm.
Of course, everybody there was like, this man, he was on top of his class. He could have waited the suspension. He could have appealed the suspension. Why did he even do this? So I joined. First year, it went smooth. Second year, I got elected the GRC of School of Law. Politics again. In the famous class of the Adekehan, Ibajus, that was my lot. Unfortunately, at that time again, a strike was led.
By who?
Then Guild President was Boy Ivan.
Okay.
And we were the twices of the same. When the strike was led, I was suspended from Makere.
I am eagerly waiting for Muse's reaction this time.
So when they did suspend me, I didn't have to. My brother got to know because at that time my brother was the commander of that area. He was the DPC of that area. He relayed the message immediately. So Muse was like, I have nothing to do with you.
This time, hands up.
Now, quietly.
Mom is still at your back.
Yeah, of course, but very bitter, very bitter. So we had a guy. He's called Council Semakade Isaac. Now, Semakade Isaac jointly filed a suit, including us and Boy. So we successfully
Against the suspension.
Against the suspension. So we successfully
Won
the case against Makere University, and we were reinstated.
Wow.
Back. So when I came and told Muse, I need tuition, I need to go back. For you are not studying. I know you have just been hiding in Kampala. You want
to go and eat my money.
You've been suspended. I came and told Muse, this is the court order. We have been reinstated. It is, yeah. When I went, I decided that I was not going to hold any leadership position now because what was distinct in all this, because of my articulation and my grammar, documents are always prepared and they lead me to read documents.
They always put you in a position where you will have to
I will be
somewhere.
at the, yes, cameras would take me. I eventually finished my career with a second upper in law. Immediately, we applied for the pre-entry exams. After applying for the pre-entry exams, I think I was among the best 10 students who were admitted to the Law Development Center for the bar course. And that impressed Muse because the results then could come in the newspaper and the marks each student would have scored to join the bar course. So Muse was very impressed.
Was he, who knew this first? Was he the one who informed you from the...
I informed him, even because I'm always very curious about
what's happening.
One thing that kept serving me, I was a stubborn person, but my academics, I am.
Perfect. You
perfect.
had a backup
So
plan.
he could always say, my results could bail me out. So I got admitted. I went to Law Development Center for my bar course to become an advocate. While there, I was elected Guild President.
Again. I hope the story we're going in, there has not been suspension in that department.
So when I got elected, I served my intensive year of studies and practice and serving the student guild at LDC. I finished. When I finished my LDC, I graduated actually with very high grades. Immediately, I knew I was, in 2017, I had premeditated, I wanted constituency politics.
Yeah.
So 2017, there was consultation for age limit.
Yeah.
And as a guild president, I had done some savings. I had my first car. It was a Subaru Forester. So I had some money, about 20 million shillings, and I had in my pocket when I had to come. So the members of parliament then who were there had about, each of them were given 29 million shillings, those ones who were in the NRM. So I came to the constituency and I found people were bitter, but there was no way, there was nobody to stand and resist what these guys were saying. People could line up and say, we don't want the amendment of the age limit. Now, these guys go over radio and announce something different. So this is, when I reached, this is what people told me. I told them it's okay. I drove for 2 days in the whole of Amolatar. It wasn't Kyoga County, Kyoga North. It was still Kyoga County, the bigger Molatar, because they are not yet divided the new constituency. So I mobilized. The first day that I went to hear the consultation speech of the former member of parliament, the former member of parliament was assaulted and beaten to pulp in Muntu because I was there. Bullets were fired. We were charged, me and 4 others, for having assaulted the MP. That we used Gweng Mechielo, the area member of parliament. But when we went to court, the matter was dismissed prematurely because during hearing, I asked the area member of parliament how science, physics, or what kind of, how can you explain a stone being carried jointly and severally by 4 people to throw? And that was, they snagged the case and it was dismissed. From that time, the member of parliament started feeling, I became a celebrity.
And a threat as well.
And a threat. So, immediately, the wind of people power at that time. People power wasn't Noop. It wasn't the Bobby Wine thing. It was a joint opposition arrangement that we were putting on red.
Overall.
Yes.
The red headband.
Yes, because after the fighting inside Parliament.
Yes.
So I became popular in challenging for the same, and everybody started taking notes. Who is this guy? Who is this guy? So in every village, people wanted to know this man, Okot Bitek, Okot Bitek, Okot Bitek. So negative publicity gave me a lot of. Yes. So the youth immediately the youth invited me for the Youth Day celebration, immediately after the Muntu thing, to be their guest of honor. When I went with 3 lorries of people, youth, to the celebration. And when I went, the youth were putting on all red berets. When we reached, the RDC, who was then Wangodero, decided to
stop you guys.
To stop us. The youth had slaughtered a bull, I think. It was a function. The climax only came when the RDC came and started removing the red berets and the red headbands, which were red, and resistance started from that function, and bullets were fired. Now that caused more popularity for me. Now, Ogwangodiero then failed to work with the people of Amolatar because the ground, he had never faced that opposition.
Ground like that.
Because they had subdued Honorable Bileo, Duerago had passed on, who were opposition bigwigs in Amolatar. So Honorable Amule Dorin, who was the second of the motion, and Okello Anthony, who had dominated Amolatar. So we made people to have a different lens of viewing what was there. At the climax of it in 2019, while I was practicing in Gulu now as an advocate, the soldiers started their operations in the lake. When they started their operations in the lake, people told me people are assaulting, they're raping, they're grabbing land, they are taking property, destroying boats, destroying fishing nets, and all sorts of crimes were happening, and nobody was bold enough to take them head on. So there was a day I arranged. I told the people that anybody who was ever assaulted, anybody whose property, whether your goat, your chicken was taken by these people, because the soldiers had to sustain themselves, they take anything they find. You come, I want to file a court case against these soldiers and Attorney General. So that day, the soldiers went and surrounded the venue where I was supposed to.
To hold the rally.
Not a rally, to register. As an advocate, I'd put a desk, put papers, and put people to take notes on complainants, people who are complaining on whose rights have been violated. But these people never wanted, the RDC then, never wanted this to come out. He wanted us to remain in a dark area where you don't know what was happening there. So I tried to test the water. I made my driver to drive in that scene because they told me there was heavy deployment where I'd already organized. 10 soldiers came to the car. When the driver lowered the window, they realized I was not in the car. That was at about 3 p.m. When it clocked 5, I knew, okay, they had already frustrated my intentions of registering people. People were now going back home because they felt I was now not coming. So I drove to my home, that is at Alemere, part of western part of Amorata Town Council.
Yes.
And then when I reached home, I saw some people who pretend to be NRM cadres around, moving around my home. Then shortly, I told my driver that you go home, meet your family. Me, I'm now going to the farm, which is about 9 kilometers. I'll drive myself, go to the farm, so that tomorrow in the morning I come and pick you and we drive back to Gulu for where I practice. So the driver calls me and says, you look behind. Do you see some motorcycle coming? I said, yes. There's 2 people. One is carrying a gun, one is riding him. And these people are very vicious people. I know them. They have been, when you were here, they were following you. So I realized they were coming. So I decided not to proceed to Muntu, where the farm is, because it's 9 kilometers and the road is not good. If these people they would catch up with me because they have a bike, and then I'm moving with a car. So I decided to come back to town council at a terrific speed. Coming back to town council, I found the RDC with the DPC and the bodyguard driving. They came and crossed right in front of me and started firing. The first bullet came from the windscreen in the car and shot. It was targeting my head, and it missed my head by whiskers, and it passed through here. I think you see where the bullet passed. So I jumped out of the car. I started running. Fortunate enough, or unfortunately, it had rained. In front of where I'd stopped and I'd left the car, the engine was on. The bodyguard of the RDC, the driver, the bodyguard who was firing the bullets slid, and he fell down and shot me from the legs and from twice. So when he shot me, he got up, came to see me. Then the blood that was oozing from my hands was all over my head because I was holding my head. But you cannot feel when you have just been shot with a bullet. Within 10 minutes, you cannot feel it. I started feeling the pain later. So he confirmed that I was dead because he was seeing a lot of blood. He thought he had shot the head. So he told the RDC and the DPC who was in the car, "Twende tumemaliza.
We are finished."
Yeah. So immediately they jumped in the car. People were now ululating and shouting in town. They drove, rushed to the police station. Then immediately, for me, I was taken to, there were people in town. A mechanic came, picked me and took me to Amai hospital. When they took me to Amai, I was still thinking there's something that can still happen here. These people would want to destroy evidence because they now know I'm not dead, because the mission was to finish me. As if I was, my elder brother, who was a doctor, sent the ambulance from Oyam. He was the DHO of Oyam then. Sent the ambulance to Amolatar to pick me from Amai. We left Amai at 1, but the doctor who was there was my OB at Makere. The man did all what he did to make me survive. He removed the bullet pellets that were, and the debris that were in my leg, and then gave me some water because he had to. I was asking for water, and had I drank water, I was going to die. So, and then that was IV. And then he managed the wound on my legs. So immediately I was taken to Kumi Orthopedic Hospital. While I was at Kumi, these people, at 3 a.m., these people came and shut every room in Amai looking for me. The soldiers came through the Lake Kwania and came to the hospital. Which ward is this man? So I think it was God given that I left. So at the hospital they deployed. I stayed in Kumi Orthopedic Hospital for close to 6 months in Kumi. When I came out, nominations were near.
Yeah.
The people were glad to see me back, and the tides were blatantly, all was showing in my favor if I had run. So it was during COVID-19, the RDC never allowed me to go and meet people, to speak to people.
That was what I wanted to ask. Did you meet the same team in the same place?
Yes. I met the same team, the same DPC, the same RDC. But because I had immediately, when I came back from the hospital, I immediately filed a case in court and I had exposed them. They were now timid, but I could not stay in public places. Immediately I'm brought from where I would be hiding to court, and then I disappear, so that they could not finish me, because the intention was to destroy me. So I survived that. During campaigns, they never allowed me to go. Until the last few days of campaign, whenever I could go to the people, the people would start by crying, and people collected monies.
Instead of you
giving
campaigning
them
with money.
Yes, they were like, we never visited you in the
hospital.
In the hospital.
And this
is the best we can do. And people voluntarily went looking for votes. So I became people owned my candidature in Amolata. I did not. My only role was to remain alive, have myself nominated. I skipped the nomination. The nomination was harder than all this, because the day of nomination, a policeman who was inside came and told me they will arrest you before your nomination, and they will deny you nomination and they'll release you later. They are framing a charge that you killed a policeman. Now and I realized there was a lady who was working as my office assistant. A certain policeman who was a CI, crime intelligence officer, had started dating this lady. So that day when my nomination was tomorrow, the man stayed in my office the whole day. His intention was to read my movements, where I've slept, and they captured me. So when he told me, when this man rang me, and I knew this man was in my office, I walked out behind and moved on a border in a short and a jersey. I slept in somebody's home. I didn't sleep at our home because I knew they would be also monitoring there. So, and then I was driven in rain in a short with my sick leg up to Lira in a motorcycle. So when I reached Lira, I slept. The next day, youth were at my home in Muntu, were at my home in Alemere, waiting to get the candidate. People were all rowdy looking for me. By 3, I was not yet in Amolatar. By 3, I was in Dokolo. Nominations would be closing at about 5.
Yes.
So what I did, I hired a tipper lorry that was carrying sand, and I decided to drive the tipper lorry.
Yes, sir.
The good thing at that time, at that time we were using face mask.
Were you already fit with the leg, if I'm to ask? Because you needed gears to be put in on.
This one leg was helping me. I could balance, but I needed to get there. So around the Electoral Commission, the police officers are deployed heavily. So what I asked my dad and mom to carry my academic documents, and my nominators, inform them quietly and take them at the Electoral Commission. Everybody was waiting for me. So immediately I reached, I just drove past the tape meter that the Electoral Commission had put in the area, no go on. I drove inside and broke it and entered at the door.
With the tipper.
With the tipper, and I stopped the tipper, left the engine on, and I told them I'm now property of Electoral Commission.
At that moment, I'm trying to feel the Makerere spirit.
Yes. So the police officer, I saw Okelochan, the DPC, holding his head like this.
It's like a movie.
It's like a movie. He couldn't believe what was there. So I got nominated in a very funny way. You imagine somebody driving a Tipasan is almost like a Juakali boy.
A face mask.
Yes. So I got in, I got nominated, and I told them, you are done. Wow. Now that I am nominated, you are done. From that time, I won the election.
Wow.
I won the election with a landslide victory because I got 8,500 votes. My immediate follower was Anthony Okello, who got 5,000 votes, over a gap of about 3,000. So the third person came there, Dufa, and other people. When I got into Parliament, a young man, and a clique of...
You bring me to this question, your first day in Parliament.
Yeah, my first day in Parliament, I was up to speed because I've been a Kampala boy. Makerere, the LDC, we were the people who, and all these guys whom we used to do the walk to work with were in Parliament. The Onekalita Mere had got to Parliament. Deke was in Parliament. Okot Bitek was in Parliament. Nyamotoro was in Parliament. Aber Lillian was in Parliament. So our clique, I was comfortable among the people we were with. So my generation was there, people we could speak. Then at first, I didn't run for the office of speakership.
Okay.
Yeah, because Jacob was still alive. Jacob ran, and Jacob was our candidate from the north. Yeah. And then running against Kadaga. Then we had Honorable Anita Mong, who was the deputy speaker then. Yeah. But when Jacob passed on, an opportunity came. The opposition wanted a figure who could showcase, who could match and deal with the environment at that time. The euphoria then was not very good for the people that side because Jacob was a northerner and died under circumstances that were not. Yeah. So they looked for a candidate. I wasn't under Noop, and Noop had the majority in that parliament. There were 3 people who showed interest. There was Honorable Shamim Malende, who had showed interest of running for deputy speakership. There was another gentleman. I can't remember that very well. But we voted internally in the opposition caucus, and they elected me to be the flag bearer.
I know, you're always showing where there is need, where there is election. Makerere, you showed up. The other school, where was that?
Moobs.
Moobs, you showed up.
Development Center.
You showed up. Now, it is obvious that in Parliament you had to show up.
So we went for the contest. And it's going to be in the history books. Nobody has ever contested from the opposition wing and secured 84 votes. And that is what I secured. My colleague Asuman Basara, who was running for speakership, secured about 50-something against Honorable Anita Mong. I secured 84 against Taibo. Meaning...
we call this a victory because it's in history.
Yeah. The people from the NRM voted for me, I believe. Because the opposition who were in attendance that day could not match the 84 in number. Okay. So, but it's also true that had I probably maybe been in the ruling party, somehow
you would be there.
I would be there because the qualities that I did present, being an advocate, a lawyer, and being somebody whom they know is very direct and very straight, who does not beat around the bush, I earned the trust of many of my colleagues. And at that time, the Lao Parliamentary Group had elected me already as their vice chairperson. So that was CV enough for
you to be there.
Yeah.
We are hearing, a lot of people, we are hearing rumors saying Bitek want to cross to UPC, is hiding there, this and that. Would you mind to clear us about that?
UPC is a mother party. My father served UPC and went into exile because of his association with the UPC government. Nobody in Lao can be completely disassociated with UPC. My time of running for membership of parliament, I was a joint opposition candidate. I carried along with me whenever I'm going for a rally, the UPC flag, the FDC flag, and the NUP flag. All of them never filled in a candidate against me in my constituency. So, what the dissatisfaction that I have been putting forward is, we from the north here have been fighting for a day when we can have power come back to the north. But our only role is to raise leaders who are capable of measuring beyond Lao, but rather to the national arena. Now, UPC, initially, all the people from Lao, when Akena came back from exile, believed that UPC would have a rebirth by Akena's coming back, and all the aspirations, what our founding father, Parliamentary Bote, had left on the way would be accomplished. But somehow, in the earlier days, either because of the utter need to survive, Akena, Honorable Jim Akena, the current party president of the UPC, did not measure to what we wanted him to do.
The expectations.
To the expectations. He ran so quickly to the NRM and signed certain memorandums, unseen memorandums. Now, such memorandum, if you have known me quite so well, I am not comfortable
with the memorandum.
With the memorandum, or with what the memorandum would expect me to behave. Because the memorandum would expect a cold politician who at times will close his eyes, who will kill activism. I am a born of activism.
Blood of activism runs in you.
Yes. So that's why I didn't take it in the first place going to Parliament. But I've been having discussions with the Honorable Jimmy that also there is a lot of mistrust on UPC, because we believe that it could be a project that President Yoweri Museveni is using to bargain for the votes in Lao. So we have.
Are you saying the mistrust came in about the
association,
and the memorandum?
Association of NRM and UPC. Yes. So we don't doubt. I don't doubt the moral righteousness of Jimmy Akena, but I doubt his stay under captivity of the NRM, which would jeopardize my intentions to rise beyond what is there. Because if I went to the UPC, that means if I'm a member of the UPC and resolutions have been made that we shall not do this against the NRM, we shall not maybe sign certain documents in Parliament against the NRM, it would not reckon well.
It will cut you out. Now, you somewhere there, you said Mom is an NRM.
Yes.
Is a NRM.
Yes.
And then you are in FDC.
Yes.
How is the atmosphere at home when you guys are talking politics? Assuming now this is a table, other members of the family under NRM or some others are in UPC and all that?
My dad remained in civil service for long, but he's a sympathizer of UPC.
Sympathizer of UPC.
Yes.
Why do you choose to use the word sympathizing with UPC?
He served under that government, but of course because of his calling then and now, he could not publicly declare his affiliation.
Okay.
Yes, as a civil servant. But Mom's situation, Mom is fairly learned, and knows that we can agree on virtues and disagree on vices. He knows that there are things that even when you are in the NRM, you must do rightly. Now, she has, up to date, I can tell you, she's one of, if she's even in that party, she's one of those rebel members of the NRM, because lately there was a motion that was moved to expel her from the NRM. Because when you asked me initially that would you go to the UPC, my answer would be, if UPC starts doing things rightly,
I will go.
I would in the future maybe consider. For one, we would want to see our own as maybe Jim McKenna rise for topmost leadership, like run for presidency.
Okay.
And that is a card he has been holding for so long. He says, 2011, I'm running for presidency. 2016, I'm running for presidency.
Don't see it coming.
2021, I'm running for presidency. So I gave him an ultimatum. Should Akena pick forms that is running for presidency, UPC count me that I am going to look for votes for Akena. As even if I'm in the FDC, I'm going to look for votes for Akena. But if Akena does not pick forms for presidency, I am a strong member of the FDC, and I will look for votes for the FDC presidential candidate. Because I would not want to be
left in dilemma.
Yes, and then you also take me as if I'm a man of straw. I'm not a man of straw. I'm a reasonable man.
Lastly, if the President Museveni, His Excellency, is to decide and appoint you as one of the ministers, what would you say about it? Would you take it up?
We've seen many of our people from Lao who were very powerful, rising stars. People believed in them. They lost public trust. Immediately they went and worked with the NRM. The best example I'm giving you is a lawyer who, like me, the Honorable Omara Tubo. Omara Tubo was picked and put in the docket of fisheries, of lands. And land was grabbed in Omara Tubo's constituency, in Atira, in Atuka. Did Omara Tubo ever win the election in that constituency, ever?
No.
Can he ever win in that constituency? If Omara Tubu, of late, he's a good man, but the man has been mud-slapped with what is there. We have seen our very most able, we had Anywa. Beatrice Anywa was an activist of the environment and the rest, very outspoken.
Mama from Kidgum.
Mama from Kidgum. Where's Anywa now?
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. You have been watching in the Destiny Show, and of course, still here with the Honorable Member of Parliament for Kyoga County in Amolata District. You have heard what we have been saying here. I know you have picked, what I've picked from this conversation today is about one word, and that is not giving up. And a lot of people, by the way, have always related. Me personally, I always ask myself, the name Bitek, I keep relating to it with a Lao name. I don't really get it, but thank God that a lot of people today have gotten to know how it has related, and thank God that you were able to get inspiration from such a great man. Any last word to the voters outside there, to the viewers out there that are watching us?
Thank you very much for everybody who was able to watch this show and view it. I want to applaud MC Dogo, right?
Yes.
And Destiny Show for giving me this platform. You have risen as the people of Lao who, for over 20 years, we stayed in war. We remained backward. This social media platform you are dealing with today, over the world, the revolution in Sudan was in social media. The finance bill that was rejected in Kenya was over social media. You have revolutionized the game in Lao. And I urge our young people, if we must have control over the world now and forever coming, let's embrace this. Let's use the social media platforms, not for pornography, not for scamming, but let's use it to create a critical mass and revitalize ourselves as a people and discover our destiny as a people. Only me alone, if I am gone, then we are finished. We need to inspire many Okot Biteks and people who can stand for the truth and for the people and remain firm. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. That is the voice of Kyoga County. That is the voice of Lango. That is the voice of people. The man himself, Honorable Okot Bitek, on the show. My name is MC Dogo Destiny. Thank you for watching. I must give a shout out to Emerson behind the lens, and of course Abaka Media team for making this possible right over here. Comment, like, and share, and we will get to you each and everything you'd love to get to know. Thank you. God bless you.